Hey YouTube, today we're doing a quick review on the BSA Sweet 22 rifle scope. This scope is actually a very neat little scope made by BSA. Price range on this is, I've actually seen quite a bit of variance on the prices for this. One second guys, while I take these off. I've seen these things as low as like 40-50 bucks up to $150. This is a specialized scope for the 22 long rifle, and it is a 3x9, and I believe it's a 3x9 by 40 if I remember correctly. They also make, I think, a 44 model and maybe a 50. There's a couple different versions. Hopefully I got the right one. If not, hope you guys understand. You know, you forget, sometimes you get so much gear you forget exactly what you got. But this is the BSA Sweet 22. It comes with, I like, metal lens covers which screw in as you saw me take them off there. The neat part about this gun is that it has 3 adjustable turrets for 3 different 22 bullet sizes. There's a 36 grain, 38 grain, and a 40 grain. And what it has is it has basically yardage, and you set basically, you know, put the right turret on for the right bullet you're using. And to take it off, all you do is just take out a couple of Allen head screws out of there. The turret pops off, you put the new one on, tighten it back down, and you can adjust them from 50 to 175 yards. Now, what you typically do is you would put this on, and what I do is I just wherever, get the gun sighted in at 50 yards, take the turret off, reset it to 50, tighten it back up, and then what I found is accuracy on this is, I'd say, good. Not great, but good. Going from like 50 to 100 yards, you know, you are off by a little bit. You're off by like an inch or so. Unfortunately, this is not like what I would consider to be like a match grade or a target grade scope. The turrets aren't that accurate. They are off by a little bit. You know, I have gone from like 75 to 100, and you know, you're not getting a perfect 0, of course, but you know, I don't expect so much out of the price of this gun. It is kind of neat because it makes this a much more effective hunting gun, in that instead of trying to, you know, most cheap scopes, the turrets are pretty crappy, and who wants to put, you know, a $300 scope on a $140 22? I know I don't. You know, it kind of, I hate doing it. So getting a 22 with a good scope is always difficult, and trying to guess holdover can be a pain in the butt. This is a much more accurate way to use this as a hunting rifle, and I've been taking this out and doing some squirrel hunting with it, you know, this fall, and it actually worked pretty good. I think the accuracy's good enough for squirrel. You know, a couple misses here and there when you're going from like 50 to like 100 and something yards, but overall, when you do get this zeroed in, I zeroed this in at 50 and then brought it out to 100 and then kind of messed around with it a little bit, and I decided I'd rather have it zeroed in perfectly at 100. At 100 yards, I was shooting a, I have one of those little 2-inch metal spinner targets, and this will hit the 2-inch metal spinner at 100 yards probably 3 out of 4 times. Of course, it's a 22. They're very susceptible to wind, and you know, plus, you know, unless you put a lot of money into 22 ammo, it's really not the most accurate ammo on earth. So, you know, granted, accuracy issues with this may be the 22 ammo rather than the scope, but I would say, you know, you got about 2 MOA out of this scope, this gun combo, using cheap ammo. I'm sure if you use match grade, you could bring that down a little bit, and I'm sure if you spend a little time, you know, customizing the rifle, you might even be able to bring it down a hair or more. But I'm rambling. Overall, I like this scope quite a bit. I've been using it. There's, of course, another scope cover on the windage. I really don't mess with the windage. Once it's set, it's set. It's marked in inches with the 1/4 inch in between. The top is just marked by yardage, and I'll give you a zoom in a second for that. It has, you know, I'm going to take this off, and we're going to get in close, guys. Enough of this. Let's take a real close look at this bad boy. as you can see, that turret. This is the 36 grain turret. Goes from 50 to 175 yards. And right now it's set at like about 105 or so, which is what my laser rangefinder set at the range. See your windage. Get that strap out of the way for you guys. Oh, we're falling to pieces here. This windage is marked by inches. It's a finger turnable knob. You don't need a screwdriver or a coin. Same with the top. Accuracy is not affected when you switch the turrets. But you know, switching from a 40 grain to a 36 grain or 38, you know, accuracy, you're going to have to re-zero a lot of times, but usually it's close enough where it's not a big deal. You have parallax setting up on the top from 15 to infinity. Very nice. Overall, I think this is a cool little scope. I use it for some small game hunting. I also use it for the range quite a bit. I do like shooting. I'll set up, a lot of times I'll set up a couple of the metal spinners at 50 yards and 100 yards. And it's kind of neat because with this I can switch between them. And like I said, you know, I'm hitting the 100 yard one 3/4 of the time. The 50 yard one, it's hitting 100% of the time. You're getting less than an inch at 50 yards. Very, very capable scope. You know, like I said, be careful where you buy this because the price range on this can vary greatly. Also, depending on what size you get, whether you get the 3x9x40 or the 44 or the 50, you know, all depends. I believe mine came with rings as well. Decent rings. Scope holds a good 0 considering the amount of adjustment that goes on with this and the changing of the turrets and whatnot. No problems there whatsoever. And before we go, real quick, I will try and give you a quick look down the crosshairs. So tough to do this. Never been good at this. Ooh, ooh, there you go. There's your crosshairs, as you can see, very thin towards the center. Sorry, I am not better at this, guys, but you know, one-man camera crew. What can you say? So here it is, the BSA Sweet 22. Very neat little scope for the price. Granted, there are better scopes out there, but I, in conjunction with this Savage 64, it's a 2 MOA gun, as far as I'm concerned. So I'm actually pretty pleased with it. So I hope you enjoyed.